Hello and welcome back to the channel.
Today we're talking about a truly unique place, Siem Reap in Cambodia.
We think this city and the surrounding area should be a bucket list item for every traveler. Welcome to World Wanderers.
We're Alicia and Will.
Come wander the world with us.
Siem Reap is a lovely and friendly place. It is also a very affordable place. The biggest expense you're likely to have is getting there.
We flew into the old airport that was 15 minutes from downtown, but this is now closed and the new airport is about an hour away, but transportation is readily available.
Yeah, taxis are about $35 and buses are around 10.
There are numerous places to stay and something to fit every budget and type of traveler.
From hostels only costing a few dollars per night, and I've seen some as cheap as like less than $2 a night, to five-star luxury resorts at what we would say are really reasonable prices as Americans.
Definitely. We stayed at Angkor Palace, which was a five-star resort with the beautiful grounds, a great spa, and excellent food.
It currently books for around $75 a night and includes a really good free breakfast.
We'll put a link in the description below if you'd like to check it out.
Downtown Siem Reap is full of good restaurants, serving every genre of food for really reasonable prices.
You can get a good dinner at a sit-down restaurant for around $10 per person.
And if you enjoy nightlife, you have to check out Pub Street. It's full of interesting bars, restaurants, cafes, dance clubs, and the like.
Yeah, this street is really popular with tourists, so the food and drinks are a little bit pricier, but it's definitely a fun place to explore.
It's all lit up with neon signs and strings of lights. Really pretty.
Yeah.
Siem Reap's main attraction is the Angkor complex, just outside the city limits. The area was home to the capital of the Khmer Empire for centuries. There's tons of temples and other ruins throughout the jungle. The most famous of these is Angkor Wat.
To explore these temples, you can book a multi-day pass for the Angkor Park. We'd recommend booking the 3-day pass to make sure you get to see everything you want to see at your own pace.
You can purchase the tickets online by going to ticketanchorenterprise.gov.kh. We'll leave a link in the description if you want to head to the site and look for yourself.
It'll prompt you to make an account and then verify your email. Then it'll ask you to choose your ticket type and pick the number of days you'd like to go for. A 1-day ticket is currently 37 US dollars and a 3-day ticket is 62 US dollars. And then a 7-day ticket is going to be 72 US dollars. You'll select the day you want to go and then you'll upload a photo of yourself for verification so that you can't sell it to somebody else, I'm assuming.
Yeah. The Angkor Archaeological Park is really big, and we recommend at least 2 days to explore it. And if you have time and you really like exploring those kind of things, take more days. The best way to do this is to hire a tuk-tuk driver for however many days you're going to be exploring.
They can easily get you anywhere you want to go in the park and know the best routes and current conditions to get there. And having the same driver both days makes it really easy to work out an itinerary and make sure you're not missing things along the way, because after a while, some of the temples can kind of get hard to realize what one you're seeing or make sure you're checking them all off the list.
Currently, the cost for a 2-day tuk-tuk tour is about $50 to $60 for 2 people.
On the first day, you should do what they call the small circuit, which is starting at Angkor Wat for sunrise.
Angkor Wat is one of the most beautiful buildings in the world. It was built in the 12th century by King Srah Srang II as a Hindu temple dedicated to the Hindu god Vishnu, and then later became a Buddhist temple.
This archaeological marvel is famous for its grand towers, intricate reliefs, and expansive moat, symbolizing Mount Meru, the home of the gods in Hindu mythology.
It is considered the largest religious complex in the world at over 400 acres and represents the pinnacle of Khmer architecture.
Getting here to watch the sunrise over the temple and have it reflect over the water is definitely a must. You can do this on day 1, or you can start your second day here as well, which is on the way to the other monuments. And that's kind of what we chose to do because we didn't want to get up super early the first day after a really long flight.
It's really neat with all the reflecting pools and monkeys running around everywhere and a big moat all around it. It's a must do.
It's definitely popular. There's going to be like a huge crowd of people at sunrise there. So just be prepared that you're not going to have the place to yourself.
Yep. It was easily one of the most beautiful and like unique experience we've had in 13 years of traveling together.
So after the sunrise, we'd spend some time exploring the complex. You can walk through most of the buildings and check out the intricate and amazing carvings up close.
And you can climb up to the main temple stairs for a great view of the whole complex and surrounding area.
Right. And then when you're ready, you can head back to your tuk-tuk and continue on to the next temples of the day.
Next up is Angkor Thom. This walled city was built by King Jayavarman VII and was the last capital of the Khmer Empire. It covers about 9 square kilometers and is entirely surrounded by a moat and walls.
It was home to over 100,000 people before being abandoned and lost to the jungle. So it's sometimes referred to as the Atlantis of the jungle.
Yeah, it really is like a complete ancient city buried in the jungle. To get there from Angkor Wat, you'll enter through the south gate to be a stone-lined causeway with intricate statues all along it, crossing the moat and then through the walls.
Right. Driving through this ancient gate with its intricate carvings was a really cool experience.
Yeah. At the heart of Angkor Thom is the Bayon Temple. This temple is another absolute must-see in Angkor complex.
It's known for its many towers and its hundreds of faces that adorn every tower and surface. They're everywhere you look.
Yeah. The faces are the faces of Buddha and were likely modeled after Jayavarman VII himself.
Very, very modest of him. My favorite part of the Bayon Temple is the different galleries that were filled with all the intricate carvings.
Yeah, the outer galleries show scenes from daily life and the great battles of the Khmer Empire, while the inner galleries are dedicated to spiritual and mythological carvings.
You should definitely spend some time exploring and taking in the temple before moving on to the next site here. This was definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, every surface is just covered in carvings.
Nearby to the Bayon Temple is the Terrace of the Elephants and the Terrace of the Leopard King.
Yeah, the Terrace of the Elephants spans about 350 meters in length and served as a royal viewing platform for public ceremonies, parades, and performances.
Its name derives from the detailed carvings of the life-sized elephants adorning its walls, along with scenes of warriors, dancers, and hunting processions.
Yeah, the elephants are big. And adjacent to this is the Terrace of the Leopard King, named after the statue that once stood atop it, believed to represent the god of death, Yama, a king afflicted by leprosy.
The carvings covered both terraces are a great example of the artistic style and skill of the Khmer stone carvers.
After this, you'll leave Angkor Thom through another beautiful gate in the city walls, the Victory Gate, on the way to the next site.
Next up is one of my favorite locations in the Angkor complex, Prohm.
Yeah, Prohm is renowned for its ethereal atmosphere and the interplay between nature and architecture. It was constructed sometime in the late 12th to early 13th century, again by Jayavarman VII. Prohm was originally a Buddhist monastery and university.
Unlike other temples in the Angkor complex, Prohm has been largely left in its natural state. So it has massive roots of ancient trees that are intertwining with the stone ruins.
Yeah, the temple's labyrinth-like corridors and crumbling towers and moss-covered walls evoke a sense of mystery and timelessness, making it a favorite amongst visitors, photographers, and filmmakers.
Right. This is actually where the Lara Croft movie Tomb Raider was filmed. So it's become one of the most famous locations to check out for sure.
I really love big trees. Everywhere I go, I make her take pictures of me with the big trees.
Yeah.
So when you put that together with history, another one of my loves, it's hard to beat for me.
Yeah, we spent quite an amount of time there. Next up is Banteay Kdei. This smaller temple complex is known as the Citadel of Chambers due to its labyrinth layouts of halls, galleries, and courtyards.
Unlike many of the other temples at Angkor, Banteay Kdei has not undergone significant restoration, lending it a tranquil and somewhat dilapidated charm, with parts of the structures enveloped by nature.
As the day goes on, it gets extremely hot, as you can see from some of the pictures from us dripping in sweat. So we recommend Srah Srang to be the final stop of the day.
This is a rectangular man-made lake that was known as the Royal Bath. It measures approximately 700 by 350 meters and is framed by stone steps, landing stages, statues, and other carvings, hinting at its use as a ceremonial and recreational site for the Khmer elite.
Right, like everything else that you're going to see, it's super pretty. And this is also where we'd recommend stopping for the day to eat lunch.
Yeah, along the northern edge of Srah Srang is a number of restaurants serving excellent food.
And cheap.
Yeah,
that's the theme here.
Prices.
Everything's cheap.
And also importantly here, cold drinks.
Yeah, definitely. And it has a nice view of the Bayon. We ate at Angkor Kitchen and the food was awesome.
Yeah, I had the pineapple fried rice, which they bring out carved into a pineapple bowl, and it was great.
Right. And so if you have time, there are many smaller sites worth stopping at on the way after this. Your tuk-tuk driver or Google Maps are going to be a good resource for this. But basically after lunch, we kind of headed back, hung out at the pool, and cooled off for a little to recharge for our next day.
Yeah. For day 2, we recommend the big circuit. This takes you a little further afield to some of the less visited sites in the area.
So if you didn't get to Angkor Wat for sunrise that first day, or weather prevented you from seeing it, or it was super cloudy or rainy, we definitely start there for the second circuit, get up for that sunrise while it's still a little bit cooler. And I use cooler as a relative term because it's definitely still hot and muggy all the time. So that's what we did. We started there for sunrise, and I felt it was a good way to spread the excitement out too, since we'd already explored Angkor Wat the day before.
The first stop on the big circuit after Angkor Wat is Phnom Bakheng.
This is one of the oldest temples in the area and was built by King Yasovarman I around 900 AD.
Yeah, it was built on a natural hill and serves as the temple mountain dedicated to Shiva.
The temple itself is beautiful, like all the sites in this area, but it's the stunning views from the top of this one that make it a must-see.
Yeah, after a short climb to the top, you're rewarded with a view of much of the Angkor complex, including Angkor Wat. It's probably one of the better views you'll get of the area.
From Phnom Bakheng, you'll drive through Angkor Thom from south to north and stop at Prasat Preah.
Prasat Preah was constructed in the late 12th century by King Jarvai VII.
I'm noticing a theme here.
Yeah, his name will pop up over and over again throughout the whole Angkor complex. It was dedicated to his father, and it served both as a Buddhist monastery and a hub of scholarly activity.
Sprawling for over 138 acres, the temple's layout is an intricate maze of quarters, courtyards, shrines that reflect a blend of the Hindu and Buddhist elements.
Notable for its well-preserved carvings and sculptural details, Preah features depictions of celestial dancers, deities, and scenes from Hindu epics, alongside inscriptions that provide insight into the temple's history and the cultural context.
The original paint is still visible in many areas. Preah has been left largely unrestored, with giant trees and thick roots intertwining through the ruins, creating a mystical atmosphere similar to Prohm.
Yeah, it was probably another one of my favorites, with the trees and the paintings and the carvings.
With the trees,
I really like that.
There's another pattern.
Next up is Neak Pean. This temple was connected to the Preah complex and sits on a small island in a rectangular lake.
You'll walk across a wooden bridge over the lake and get views of the aquatic life on the way.
At the heart of Neak Pean is a small sanctuary surrounded by 4 connected poles. Each of these poles represented one of the cardinal directions and was believed to purify a different element of earth, water, fire, or wind.
There's a square lake with a circular central island that is adorned with sculptures of intertwined serpents or naga, from which the temple derives its name.
The complex served as a hospital and healing center.
The next stop is a relatively small temple, Ta Som, which served as a Buddhist monastery and temple.
The temple's compact layout features a central sanctuary surrounded by concentric galleries and courtyards, all adorned with exquisite carvings depicting scenes from Buddhist mythology and everyday life.
One of Ta Som's most striking features is the Eastern Gate, where a massive fig tree has grown over the centuries. Its roots and branches envelop the stone structure.
The final stop of the day is Preah. This is one of the older temples built in the late 10th century, during the reign of King Rajandavarman II. Preah served as a state temple and center for religious ceremonies and royal rituals.
The temple's imposing structure, characterized by its tiered platforms and 5 sanctuaries, symbolizes Mount Meru, the sacred center of the universe in Hindu cosmology.
This is another climb, but is well worth it for the view of the surrounding area and the architecture.
One other suggestion that we want to mention for your trip is to bring a shawl or something to cover your shoulders for entering the various temples. It's respectful, and some actually do require it.
Yeah, that's true. And then if you don't want to hire a tuk-tuk, we saw a lot of people renting bikes. If you like being physically active and want that freedom to explore on your own, it looked like a lot of fun, and it's probably more feasible for the small circuit than the big circuit.
Right, and depending on how hot it was, I barely wanted to walk around and look at the temples some of the days when the sun really came out. So depending on the time of year you go, that might be a good option, or it might be a terrible option.
Thanks so much for watching. If you've been to the temples in Cambodia, we'd love to hear about it. So leave a comment below.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to continue to wander the world with us. Safe travels!